So just real quick, we're talking about rodelization. Okay, I know it says we're going to talk about watering, but I'd rather talk about this first, just because it seems to be out there in the ethers and a misconception. True hermaphroditism with day-neutral cannabis, it presents itself in all of the calyxes and all of the bud sites. You will see intersex traits, meaning it will have a pistil right next to a anther, and it will ultimately have it throughout the plant. That's different than a day-neutral cannabis plant trying to do the process, which is called rodelization, which is continuing its own genetic. Okay, so cannabis takes males and females. If it goes, so with a day-neutral cannabis plant that only has a 10-week life cycle, that it would do no good for it to produce pollen sacs to continue its generational genetics. It wouldn't make any sense for it to do it at week 8 when it takes 6 weeks to make seeds. And so with day-neutral cannabis, rodelization and the attempt to further its genetic diversity and continue its genes, it happens at the beginning of flower. It happens right there at the beginning. Whenever you first start seeing pistils, make sure you examine your plant fully and make sure you pay special and specific attention to the bottom part of the plant. That's where you will see, again, the difference between a rodelized plant and one that is showing true intersex traits with hermaphroditic input, a hermaphroditic cause, which is a genetic thing, and it's very, very rare. For whatever reason, that it is, it's just much more rare. And I believe that there was a lot of misconceptions with light-induced hermaphroditism, with photoperiods that got into the mainstream, just got everybody kind of thought that it was this or was that. True hermaphroditism is about as rare as it is in humans, which is very, 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 very rare. 0.001%, I believe, is true hermaphrodite, meaning it has both sets of sex parts. And so, again, that that we're going to start really kind of talking about this more. That when you start to see that your plant has flowered, for the next week or 2 weeks, you want to be very diligent in checking the bottom part of that plant, especially at the apical meristem. That main stem is generally where you're going to see rodelization. It'll be a few, maybe even a couple of sets on that lower branch of balls versus hairs. Okay, all you have to do is pluck them. This is information. This is stuff that I got from the owner of Mephisto, Mitch, at the very beginning of my auto breeding, my auto growing career. And that's why I've never really given them too much mind. Is it happens, and again I've really been trying to lock down whether this is a recessive trait, whether it has dominant or recessive alleles. What causes that damn rodelization trait? It's been very, very hard to chase down, because as soon as I think I've got it, the data shows me otherwise. Okay, and so if you've got a plant that's just beginning to flower, just starting to flower, just keep an eye on it at those. It's the easiest. It's not going to produce them, past a week or two past flowering, because again, it wouldn't make sense if the plant did it past that point and it dropped that pollen past that point. Then it wouldn't have enough time to make seeds due to its finite and short lifespan. Okay, so again, if you've got a plant that is ultimately just starting to flower, keep an eye on it for the first 2 weeks after the first sign of flower, and diligently check the plant for at each internodal point, at each internode. Make sure that you see that there are no ball formations or any malformed pistil sacs or anything like that. Okay. Again, it's something that happens, and it's just one of the kind of things that you have to navigate with autoflowers versus photo periods. Okay. If it's missed and left unplucked, yes, it absolutely. If you miss it and it's unplucked, it can and most likely will give you some seeds. Okay. Now those seeds, those resulting seeds, if you've already had this happen and you come out and there's 5 seeds here. Okay, those seeds will be feminized. Those will be selfed seeds unless you had different strains. If you had a tent full of diamond milks and you came out with some seeds, they are going to be feminized diamond milks. Okay, if it came from the plant that had that released the pollen, they will be S1s. Okay. If it pollinated a different plant, they will be the continued filial generation. That would have just made another F4. Okay, so.